All right, here we are with the making the inserts for the coaster project. We're going to use a new piece of software that you might not have used before called Inkscape. You can see it up here. It's black diamond and it's called Inkscape. And you can search for it down in your search box. Mine's already kind of pointing that way, but find Inkscape. You might have a computer that has two versions of Inkscape on it. You don't want to use 1.0, you want to use the other version. I'm actually using, let's see here, 0.92. But if you have 1.0 on your computer, it's probably on your desktop. Don't use that one, use the other one because 1.0 is the newer version, but it won't align very well with this tutorial, or it'll be close, but you'll have to do more thinking. So here we go with Inkscape and how to use it to make inserts for the coaster. So when you open up Inkscape, it shows you what is supposed to look like a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to head over here and make a circle. Now, when you do this, this is a little weird. Your circle, once you click it, will maybe look different than mine, but don't worry about that. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. What you want to do is hold Control while you click and hold your left mouse button down, and then we'll pull it out like that. Now mine's looking like this. I'll zoom in on it. I'm going to do that one more time. Hold Control, pull mouse, and if you hold Control and drag at 45 degrees, you end up with a perfect circle. Obviously, if you change a little bit, you get an oval, but holding Control and pulling at 45 degrees will get you a perfect circle. So that's the first step. Okay, now the next step is recognizing that there's a couple tools over here you use quite often, and this one is one of them. This is called the Pick tool or the Select tool. Click that, and you can select things like this. I'm going to select the oval I made first by mistake and hit delete. Don't forget, if yours looks different than mine, don't worry about it yet. We're going to change that right now. Okay, so I've selected it, and I'm going to go up here and change the size. So we're going to go down here and click inches, and now I'm going to change it so it's 3 inches by 3 inches. Right now mine are changing, my width here and my height here are changing individually because this little lock isn't on. So turn the lock on, and because these are the same, I'll maintain the same if they're locked together. This is called the aspect ratio. So we're going to go and delete here and make this 3. Enter. So whatever yours was, it should now be 3. The last step is to go up here to Object and pick Fill and Stroke. And this is how your circle looks different than mine. You can fill the circle, and I'm going to do that right now and show you, but that's not what we want. Yours might look like that right now. You can change the color by changing the red, green, blue mixture, and we don't need that. So if yours is solid, turn that fill off by hitting this X. We only want an outline. If you don't see an outline, you need to go to Stroke, and you need to turn Stroke on solidly here. This is like the pen, right? So we're going to turn it on solid, and then now we're into the critical part. If you want the laser to cut that circle out, the laser requires 2 pieces of information. The first piece is it needs to have only red, no green, no blue on the RGB spectrum. So that means this one. If you drag it all the way to the top, you'll see that it's 255 for a full red. You can just key that in if you want as well. So that's the first part. It still won't cut this circle because it needs one more piece of information, and that's under the stroke style here. The stroke style has to be in inches, so we'll pick inches, 0.001. And then if you go out here and click, it gets a really, really thin red line. If you have over here, I'm going to pick it again with my select tool. If you have 2 in here, 0.002 of an inch, suddenly the laser won't cut it, it will engrave it. It's programmed to accept information that tells it to cut certain lines and engrave others, and this is the piece of information that says cut. It has to be 1/1000th of an inch, 0.001, and it has to have a stroke in the RGB spectrum of 255, no green, no blue. This last one down here, if you're wondering what it is, this is opacity or how transparent it is. This also has to be full, so it's not transparent at all. If it's transparent, it won't cut it. It's got to be full. Okay, so that takes care of that. We now have a circle that the laser should be able to cut. Now the question is, how do I get this to the laser software? Well, let's do that in the next video. So that's all for this one.